This meeting is being recorded.
In problem 11 from chapter 13, we are asked to name these following compounds. So these are all examples of something that we call epoxides. So we'll look at some epoxide nomenclature. So in compound A, we can see that there's two methods for naming epoxides. In one method, we would see that propane would be our parent, and we have the epoxy substituent connected to the parent at carbon 1 and carbon 2. So the way that we would name this is that we have a methyl substituent on carbon 2 as well, and that epoxy substituent as well. So we would name this as a 1,2 epoxy 2 methyl propane. Or, according to our second method for naming epoxides, our parent could be considered the oxirane ring. And with the oxygen is always being defined at position 1. So the ring would then have 2 methyl groups. So let's draw. If this were carbon 1, then we would have 2 methyl groups then at, again, carbon 2 by this definition. And then this would be our carbon 3 in this nomenclature form. So we will call this a 2,2-dimethyl oxirane. So let's take a look at our compound B here, and we'll go back to our first method of nomenclature. So we see, we will call this carbon 1, this carbon 2, and following a similar method, we will call this a 1,2 epoxy. And then we have 2 phenyl groups on carbon 1, so 1, 1 dash diphenyl. And our longest carbon chain is 2 carbons, so this would be an ethane. Then using our other method, we would call this carbon 1, this would be carbon 2 to name our substituents. Again, we would call this an oxirane parent, so this would be a 2,2-diphenyl oxirane in the other naming system. All right, so let's take a look at this last compound here. And again, in our first naming system, the epoxy substituent is between carbons 1 and 2. So we will call this, again, a 1,2 epoxy cyclohexane.